Hey, and we're back. Some of you are going to watch this on replay, and if you can, right now in the chat, if you can just put hashtag replay so that I know this is replay. I feel like it's been forever since I have been here hanging out with you. He told me that I would never make it. You ever have a moment like that? Have you ever had a person who just looked at you, heard your dreams, your ideas, your thoughts, your wants, your deepest desires, and they were so insecure at that moment that their only way to respond was to tell you that you wouldn't make it? So right now, as I wait and I behave myself, look, do you know that Grey Goose has white peach and a rosemary? Hey, how you doing? What's going on, Carmen? Hey, how you doing? This is a brand new tag a friend. All right, perfect. You're live. If you're live, please put the word live here. Give me this fancy glass. So I want to know, have you ever had a moment where you went and you told someone you were excited about your dreams, your ideas, your thoughts, and they said to you, huh? Now, there have been many times on my journey that I have made a decision to go and share and teach and talk about my dreams, my ideas, my deepest wants, my deepest fears. And the truth of the matter is that I for sure know that you had a high school guidance counselor. I'd love to know. I'd love to know who that was for you. You had a high school guidance counselor. Well, I used to have a business partner. And my business partner, I thought he was my friend, which is why I went into business with him. I didn't own 50%, but I was really, really close to 50%. And the truth of the matter is that every time I got bigger, every time I felt bigger, every time I thought bigger, every time I played bigger, every time I delivered bigger, every time I sold, because I outshined him. When we look at the revenue for the month, if we produce $42,000 in revenue, I wrote $35,000 of it. And he would do his best to keep me small, to keep me like this, to help me play like this. If this is you, can you just put me to Tiff? He literally, and at first I thought he was doing it for my own good. And then I tried to manipulate it and make it seem like something else. But then, sis, brothers, I realized that I was in this cycle of allowing him to make me play and feel and think small. But I didn't even know it. One day I walked into the office and this is Tequila with Tiffany. So hands down, we're going to be here for a while. So if you're like, man, I'm thinking I'm going to jump in and out, we're not going to be jumping in and out. I'm giving away $16,000 this week to people who need to come in person with me, or my team, or our Do the Damn Thing certified story coaches to master and nail their story. If I tell you what happened last week at the Story Intensive here in Arizona, you would not even believe. You're talking about $1 million worth of businesses at the table, and I tell you, but I'm not even going to get into that. Let me tell you about this story. So I walk into the office one morning at 10 o'clock because over the last couple of weeks, I don't feel like I've been being treated fairly. And it's like 10 o'clock in the morning. I've already taken Jada and Maya to preschool, and I'm standing there and I'm really nervous. I'm nervous. I'm a little afraid. If you don't see someone who you know should be here, can you please go ahead and tag them? I'm nervous. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. We're in this very tiny office. I mean, the space is no bigger than this. And I'm a little bit afraid. I'm afraid of the unknown. I'm afraid of what is unfamiliar to me. And I get the courage and I'm like, hey, such and such. I feel like I'm not growing and I don't know how to explain it, but I need to do something a little different. Now, what started was me going, I need to do something a little different. Now, the second that I said that, and I said, I would like to leave. Now, I don't want you to think I said, I'm going to leave and build my own business. No, I just said, I'm going to leave because I need to go and do something different. Now, at that moment, I'll never forget the look on his face. He goes, you're going to leave? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to leave. And he was like, leave and go do what? And I was like, I don't know, but I got to go do something else. And he said to me something I'll never forget, leave. You'll never be anything without me. You'll never grow on your own. You're not going to get very far. You look at what you've accomplished here, basically telling me that I shouldn't want or desire because I should be grateful for what was right there. Let me take a moment. Anyone else ever had that happen? Where you're talking about your pain, your oppression, your frustration, your anger, and the person on the other side says that you need to be grateful for right where you are. let me tell you something. I had never been so hurt because I had poured my heart, my blood, my sweat, my tears, my knowledge, my dot, 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 dot into this moment. And all I could hear was him telling me, that I needed to be grateful for the fact that he gave me an opportunity. Now, I was grateful for the fact that he gave me an opportunity, but I want to be transparent, guys. I realized at that week, that month, that he had purposely been keeping me like this so I didn't grow. He would keep me like this so I stayed in the dark. He could keep me like this so that I could continue to serve him and not have the opportunity to grow. Now, let me tell you, there's nothing wrong with partnering, connecting, and building with other people, but I will tell you the truth. The reality is that he was so afraid of me growing and being big that he kept me small. And because I almost had fear sit in the way of that, so when he told me you'll never be anything without me, it was a huge fighting match. Not fighting, but it was definitely a match of, and for sure, I stood there and I said, you know what? That's okay. I have the best thing that I need. I have the thing that did it all. I have me. Can you just put that in the chat right now? For those of you who are with me, whether you're on live or replay, I need you to be clear. I need you to close your eyes as you say this with me. I have me. Because I'll tell you the truth, I was actually very afraid. Because he was like, you'll never make it. And he kept saying, I'll never make it. And I was like, shit, what if I don't make it? And there was a moment of doubt for a second where I was like, what if I don't make it? Everything felt like it was going wrong. My rent was due. Maya was still sick. I couldn't find my ex-husband. I had my best friend at the time was tripping. She was no longer my best friend. She was definitely tripping and not being who she said she was. Like, I was in a place like this. Now, I'm telling you this because I've spent the last 7 days inside of this reminder of what happens when we just acknowledge, no, all this shit around me can fall apart. I've got me. I've got me. For a moment, I almost forgot that I had me. There was a point again last year where I almost forgot that I had me. There was a point 3 years ago that I almost forgot that I had me. There was a moment when I almost forgot that I had me. And this is why I'm taking the moment to start and talk and walk through this. Because my story has built everything. It has fixed everything. It has delivered everything. But what it tells me and reminds me of more than anything else is that I have me. I have me. This tool called your story is not just a thing that I want you to keep in front of you. You know, Jada, my daughter, cheers. Cheers to that statement. Sorry, I have me. Cheers. You don't need to drink with me. You don't need to be drinking alcohol. I haven't drank alcohol in a long time. I'm drinking Grey Goose today. Matt Gill bought me this bottle. So look, can you tag and say, hey Matt Gill, tag him and say thanks for the goose? He'll love that. Matt took me at 1 a.m. to go and buy this bottle. I haven't had Grey Goose and since my hood days back in Florida, maybe, 10 years ago. So this reminder of I have me, because the other day I walked through a simple training with our team and then with our private clients, because the question was, how do I add another $100,000? And I thought to myself, it's really easy to get crazy and say, oh, well, Tiffany, I'm not really after $1,000. I just need to get to the next $3,000. And I'm going to tell you, whether this is $3,000 or $10,000, the formula still sticks. When you make a decision to use your story as the conversation, as the bait, as the item, as the asset, as the thing, as the piece, everything else falls into place. You just need it to fall into place. Instead of, there was a few times, like I was talking to a private client today, one of our private clients in Relentless, and she was having a tough time with the situation. And I said to her, it's easy to want to force a situation, but the truth of the matter is that you have to allow things to fall into place. You have to allow things to fall into place. I've spent the last 8 months patiently doing this and allowing things to fall into place. It's a formula. As much as I want to force certain outcomes, I go back to my story. Because here's what's easy. And it's easy for me to look outside and go, you know what? That guy said I would never make it. So maybe he's right. But I needed to shut that down and say, but he's wrong. And even though I wanted to entertain it for a moment, I just had to say he's wrong. I tried to force a lot of things before I trusted myself. And because I didn't trust myself, I was always overcompensating for other things. No, I needed to have the right tool, the right pieces, the right place. No, I needed to have the right people. I don't need any of that. I just needed to trust myself. So telling your story is one of these things that it continues to evolve. And the more that you are just with yourself and allow yourself to have peace and mercy at the same time, and literally, it's like last year, I felt like once Black lives decided to start mattering, I realized that I said a lot of things that made a lot of people uncomfortable. Let me tell you about how important story is. Stay with me. So really quickly, can you just put like this post so that Facebook knows that this is useful? Can you do me a favor? 2, can you tell me, I want to know what this moment was like for you. So last year was probably one of the biggest turning points for me, and hopefully it was for a lot of you. But for me specifically, because I thought I was done in telling my story. I thought I had evolved my story. I thought I had walked into my story. I thought my story had way more, like I had not little to go, but I had understood it all. But what I realized is that not only had I not told my story, but I also hadn't really begun to use my story to go to knock into bigger opportunities, to walk into bigger stores, to allow myself for bigger platforms. Every time that before Black Lives started to matter, I started to walk into my story. I would wait for people to give me permission. And even though it didn't feel like it, what I was crystal clear on is that I needed to stop waiting for people. I needed to stop waiting for people to give me permission. Here's what I want you to know. You don't need permission. Once you lived through your story, you already have it. Once you already lived through your story, you already have all the permission you need. The moment that I walked through Black Lives Started to Matter and I began to talk in a way that was very uncomfortable for some people, and I basically became very clear, like, you can love me or hate me. Go ahead and just hate me now so that it's easier. I realized that that was also me saying, I am not going to apologize for my truth. I refuse to apologize. Now, it's easy to do that at a small level, but I'm telling you, when I knew that, that there were people, whether it's Marie Forleo or Tony Robbins or, Ryan Dice or all of these big names, Russell Brunson, that people hold really, 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 really high. And I said, yes, I'm willing to absolutely. It's not about throwing them under the bus. I don't care to throw people under the bus, but I do care to own the truth, because I know that the next level for my community, my brand, my positioning in the market is to own the truth. And the truth of the matter is that I have been speaking in this country and around the world for 4 years. And every single time there's an opportunity for me to get to that table, to get to that stage, they manufacture some reason as to why our platform and our conversation is not good enough. But then I watch someone who was 12 times level less qualified than I am go and walk in with a narrative with useless information. Now, before I said I was going to be quiet, and I said I'm going to play this, not waiting game, but I definitely wasn't like I'm going to upset the apple cart. But I became so angry last May that I said, I can't wait, and I'm not going to ask for permission. I'm not going to ask for permission. I refuse to ask for permission, and I don't want you to ask for permission either. I want to take a moment. Yesterday, I was reminded by one of our community members this week, actually, Carmen Cotham. So I really want you to applaud Carmen Cotham. She did something huge. She moved into her own place. I'm just going to let that sit for a moment. This is a woman who for decades had been living a story that wasn't quite hers, and more importantly, didn't quite get to hold the pen as she wanted to write her story. At this point, at this age, and at this stage in her life, she said, you know what? My dreams are still too big, My daughters, I still have a lesson to teach them. And the truth of the matter is that she had a lesson to teach me. She had a lesson to teach Aisha. She had a lesson to teach every woman here in Do the Damn Thing Nation after decades of being married. But it's not just about being married, guys. It was about her going, you know what? My story's not done yet. And I'm not going to apologize for the fact that I feel, I don't feel, and I want X. Stop apologizing. Lesson number 2. So number 1, I'm going to go back to it. Number 2, stop apologizing. I created this video way back when, and back then I didn't know how important it was for me to just own my own narrative. It was like, no, I'm going to talk about the truth. And damn it, if you don't stop pressuring me, I'm going to talk about it even louder. Don't let me get a megaphone and go to the streets. I will totally make this thing hood. Now, at that time, I didn't even understand exactly what I was doing, but I knew that I was being asked to back down. So a lot of these names, they were like, Tiffany, why don't we come behind closed doors? Why don't we talk about it privately? And why do you have to be so loud about it? I'm like, because it's a problem. I've stayed quiet for all these years, and that's why I'm in this place. I will not stay quiet. I will not apologize. And no, I will not at all back down. Right now, I'm asking you really, really, really simply, I don't care where you are in your life. Lesson number 3, don't back down. When it comes to your story, don't back down. Like, I can't emphasize that enough. Because every time that I remember that I made a decision to not back down, that's when the stakes got really big. That's when people started to knock on my door. You think that Boss Babe came to me before Black Lives started to matter? No, these are 2 awesome white women who watched what was happening, watched the conversation, watched the narrative, and they said, yes, absolutely. They came after. They're amazing. And I can tell you, Infusionsoft, the CEO of Infusionsoft, he didn't come to me before that. He came to me after that. If I tell you, here's why I'm telling you this. Because there was a challenging part for me last year where I was like, what do I do with my story? Am I really willing to risk it all? Am I really willing to throw it all away because of the truth? And then I had a moment. And if you remember, if you remember this video that I shot where I just came out of the shower, my hair was like dripping wet. I was thinking about it in the shower, my hair is wet, and I turn on a Facebook Live, and it's called Dear White People of Personal Development, Where the Fuck Are You? Anyone remember that? Can you just put Dear White People in the chat if you remember this? It's a raw 30-minute Facebook Live where I got so emotionally angry about all of the racism I had faced, all of the rejection, all of the stages I was told I was not qualified. Oh, we're not looking for your topic. Our audience doesn't love that. I'm like, you guys are delusional. That is not the truth, because I see the shit that you put up there. That is not what they need. And you and I both know that. But I'm not a white man. That's why I didn't go up there. And I'm not a cute white girl. So that's also why it didn't happen. Don't tell me it's because of this. Don't lie. I'd rather you just tell me the truth. And that's what happened in that moment. And I realized that as a leader, I was like, I'm hiding behind my story. I can't do that. I made a decision to double down. Now, let me tell you why. So principle number 4, double down. Double down. Double down. You know, I became kind of angry. Not like, oh, I became angry. Like I shut down our office. I was like, we're not working. We're not sending out emails. I was like slamming stuff on the table. And I was like, I will not back down. Go ahead and send it to Tony Robb. Go ahead and send it to this and this person. And it wasn't about showing people up. It was like, this is my truth, people. For every 20 steps it takes a white person, it takes me 1,000 steps to get to the same thing. And that shit is tiring and it's not fair. I realize, now stay with me, because some of you are facing some things right now as you're halfway through the year and you're looking at the rest of the year and you're like, what do I do? What's really real? I'm telling you, baby. Last year was such a pivotal point because we have a team. We have this team staring at me. We have amazing Rachel, Aisha, Deanna, like everybody, Damien, everybody's looking at me, and I'm becoming more and more angrier because more people are like, Tiffany, what are you doing? You don't want to alienate that group and that group. I'm like, but this shit's the fucking truth. And in that, I was like, I will not be silent. I will not be quiet. I will not back down. I will not say the truth. This is another big version of me managing everybody's insecurities. Oh, you don't want to be associated with me because You are friends with such and such, then great. Don't be my friend. I'm great. Unfriend me now. Unfriend me. Take me off the stage. I don't care. Oh, but I signed a contract. I don't care if I signed a contract. That's irrelevant. You're not clear that my Black life matters. What are we even talking about? You don't care about the issues that are most important to me, then we can't talk. I had to then take that into my circle. Here's why this doubled down. Because I made a decision and then things got hard. I made a decision and then the road got a little dark. I made a decision and then I began to see water on my street. I made a decision and I realized I was not in Kansas anymore. I made a decision and I realized that people were doing this. I made a decision and I realized that some people were like, I made a decision and then I realized that there were a lot of people who were trying to either blackball me or they were like, we can't deal with Tiffany Largie anymore. There are people who were like, I'm not even going to say her name. And I decided that I was going to triple down. Okay, I want you to stay with me. So my story dictates that I have a responsibility that the road is not going to get easy, but that the road will be clear if I'm clear. Okay, the road will be clear if you're clear. The road will be unclear if you're not clear. If you heard that, can you put the word money in the chat? As we drink Grey Goose in a wine glass, we'll explore that in a little bit. The road can't get clear on how to get to the other side if you're not clear. I sat our whole team down and I said, listen to me. All right, guys. So I know that you've watched my Facebook Lives. I know that you've read my angry emails. I know that people are talking a lot of shit about me. Here's what's real. I am crystal clear that I will not this. I will not tolerate this. I am not here to manage other people's insecurities. I will not. And I went down a long list and I said, this is your opportunity to come out. We had one team member who I loved to pieces. And the truth is that during that time when I created this Dear White People of Personal Development, one of the people, there was a person that I named amongst the names, not just in the video, but during that week. And she was a team member of ours. She went to defend this woman. Let me tell you what this white woman did. It's very simple. This white woman said to me, through email, hey, Tiffany, or she sent an email and said, we understand that Black Lives Matter, 3 weeks too late. And then she said, so we decided to donate $10,000 to an orphanage in Africa. And I responded and said, what the fuck does an orphanage in Africa have to do with Black Lives Matter? You're so missing the point. And she decided to respond that an orphanage in Africa has everything to do with Black lives. And I had to let her know that she was on delusional land USA. And does anyone else remember that? Do you remember that? Do you remember that moment? I actually thought that I was losing my mind. Am I crazy? I literally was like this. What in God's name does Black Lives Mattering have to do with an orphanage in some country in Africa? What am I missing? I literally thought I was in the Twilight Zone. And she defended herself. And when I took this to the world, someone on my team made the decision to say, Tiffany, I can't believe you. This woman is a nice man. Her husband, she understands race and racism because her husband is from Morocco. Hold on. You know, I can't even play with you people. I'm about to open this shit. We can't even do this. Anybody else remember that? Let me tell you something. I literally was like, what? What did you say? Your husband's from what? Some country? And what in God's name does it have to do with Black Lives Mattering? Does anyone else remember this? This is a very serious subject. Carmen, you remember that? Listen, when she said that, it was a team member. And it was one of the toughest days for me because in the same breath, I had to let her go. Let me just drink to that. For those of you who don't know me, Tiffany Largie just opened up. So Tiffany Largie just opened up this white peach and rosemary. This is also a matte. She brought, yes, I absolutely opened it up and I'm drinking it out of the bottle, 100%. It's tequila with Tiffany. You know, I had to let her go in the same moment. It's one of the toughest, most emotional moments ever because I love this woman. But the reality is that I realized when she made a decision not to defend the woman, Is that Matt fucking Gill? Matt Gill. Hold on. Customer service in the baby section. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I need a moment. This is for Matt Gill, everybody. Matt Gill, this is for you. So let me tell you why this is so important. Because I made a decision that very specific day. Jock, don't get mad. That shit is all you. Listen, that Matt had this like wrapped up. Matt had this wrapped up. Now, I let her go in the same day. I was done. Now, here's why I'm sharing this story with you. Because there are people that you will allow in your life that you know that moment, that thing, that experience was wrong and no good. And you allow it to go till tomorrow. You allow it to go to tomorrow. Between today and tomorrow, cancer continues to spread. I realized and had known that there was cancer inside of our organization, even a small amount, but I didn't know where it was. But I realized that our hearts could not be aligned if she understood and had watched on my team what was happening and unfolding in front of me. And she went to defend a woman and made a decision to tell me that her husband was from Morocco or some country, which makes him a tiny bit darker than a white person, and that his struggle was identical to mine and that I could not possibly understand. So lesson number 4, 5, get rid of it immediately. The faster you clean house, the faster you start winning. I want you to put #faster in the chat right now. I'm begging you. Entertainment. You are not paying for this training. This is 100% free. I'm asking you to put it in the chat. This is important. This is important to you. It's important to me. I need to know that you're here. Put #faster in the chat. Because what I realized at that moment is that I was going slow in some of the decisions I was making, the ways I was moving around people. And I'm like, a whole nother decade is about to turn and I haven't made these decisions. I haven't done these things that I've said I'm gonna do. I haven't been this person. I haven't hired this person. I haven't knocked on this door. I haven't had this call with this client. And I was like, what am I doing? I'm taking so much time. I'm wasting time because I think in my little narrow head that I've got all this time. Well, I'm this age, I got another 30, 40 years left. Great. No, I don't. My statement to you, sister and brother, listen to me and listen to me clearly. And if you're one of the do the damn thing team members, listen to me. Faster. Why? Because you want to get to the destination. In that same day, I let her go. It was very uncomfortable for everybody because we were in the middle of things. It was the wrong time. I didn't have another solution, but I said, I cannot have that near me. After that moment, I started to pay attention to all the relationships and people around me who were compromising my story, okay? Compromising my story. There were people and things that I didn't even pay attention to who were compromising my story. And it's like, oh, well, I can't because that person is such age, had been around for such times. Oh, but we've been married for 31 years. I hear you. But you know what? I tell you, Carmen Coffin totally changed the absolute name of the game when she left her husband this month. And she had a clear reason why. She understood that her decision was not a yesterday thing, but decades and decades in the making. And that the reality is that she was compromising her story and her legacy. Faster, people. Let me just take a moment. That moment of letting go of a team member made me go, because I made a lot of decisions very quickly. I actually let go of 2 team members the same way. Actually, 1 team member before that. I've fired every team member that is no longer with Do the Damn Thing Nation. I have let go of. Now, understand this though. That doesn't mean that's because I win or any of the above, but it means because I make the decision that they are no longer a good fit and that they are going to be not good for our next step. So even though I might have been slower to bring them in, I need to be quick to get rid of them. That's no different than what I did over the next 12 months with people and friends and family. Over the next 12 months, I went to all my relationships. I did two things. I brought some people closer and I pushed others right off the edge. Some of you heard me. Some of you didn't hear me. Two things. I became adamant. Some people I brought crazy close to me. Clients, customers, team members, I brought them to my bosom like this, in my bosom, like this. You see this? Ba, 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 ba. And then other people, I literally pushed them off the edge. I didn't push them further away. And the last 12 months, I've made more drastic changes than I probably have in the last 10 years. And I'm going to tell you, this morning, I was watching the rain and this week, and I was like, this is the best fucking week ever. Like, here's why I'm sharing this to you. Because I want you to be clear about your story and the compromising of it. Now, I want you to be clear in the story and the compromising of it. I want you to be clear on the story and the compromising of it. I was like, I'm not going to compromise my destiny. I can't compromise my, because no. Well, I have this great opportunity. We both own this business together. So we've lived in this house. We own this house. It's $1 million. So all of the status quo, all of the as usual, it doesn't matter. It's literally irrelevant. Now, I'm going to say this last and not least. So really quickly, let me just say this. There are 3 different ways in which you can learn. You get to start with me this week. We had a story intensive last week, and I promise you, it's probably the best that we've ever done. I say that every time, but so we did a Relentless Mastermind retreat in Nashville 3 weeks ago with almost all of our Relentless Mastermind. And I'm telling you, the 2 or 3 that wasn't there, all I kept thinking to myself is, oh, I'm so sad for them. For those of you who are in Relentless, if you can put #Relentless, whether you're watching this live or replay, it was amazing. It was literally nothing short of amazing. But then it was amazing because we were all crystal clear. It was delicious, like that. Then right after that, we did a story intensive. And I realized that because I am stupid clear in all of my moves and where I am, that I became even stronger as a coach. I was already strong before. And I'm like, I'm killing it in the streets kind of a thing. Like, I'm so proud of myself. But it's because I had to become stronger. I became stronger. So I became a stronger leader, a stronger teacher, a stronger provider, a stronger boss, a stronger mother, a stronger everything. Now, let me drink to that. Now, here's why I'm telling you this. Because this last piece of the puzzle, after the story intensive last week, we had 12 people who were here with us in Phoenix, Scottsdale, Arizona. It was amazing. It was so different than anything we've ever done, but it was so good. It was so good, and I really, really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the sediment of it, sure, but I enjoyed the wins. Between Stephanie doing splits, Matt up and down a pole, people becoming hookers. I walked back in the room because I don't lead it, but I had the luxury of coming back in, and I was like, we have hookers. And I was like, what in the whole hell? And I decided, here's what I'm going to do. My daughter, Jada, who is, she's going off to college in about 15 days, and she's 18. And I've been talking a lot to her about when I was 18 and so much of my journey. And I decided I was going to take 18 people and help them in 3 different ways. So there are 18 people in our community that I'm going to give them $500 in Tiffany cash towards them coming to work with us in person, whether it's a VIP day or a story intensive. So $500. The second thing I decided to do, because, my daughter flew in from Boston. My daughter's so cool. She spent part of her summer in Boston living up. She's 18 now. And she came to visit mom in Scottsdale, Arizona. And she just, she told me so many amazing things about my story and how much my story, you know what? I saw where it says, yes, we left strong hookers. And I read, yes, we left stroking hookers. You know what? Let me just take another sip because I'm like, what is happening? I swear to you, I swear to you, I read that and said, yes, we're stroking hookers. And so I decided, so for 18 people in our community, they're getting $500 in Tiffany cash, either to come to a story intensive. The story intensive is the second week of October, and it's in Phoenix, Arizona. You can decide right now whether or not you want to come to the story intensive. I'll tell you this, of all 12 of the people or 10 people who were there at the end, I believe 9 of them have already said they're all coming back. If not 8, they're all coming back. And the other 2 is because they're going to be working with us sooner. I think like 100% of everybody want to do something more. The second thing I'm going to say is we were supposed to go on tour, and I decided that tour is not the right thing for me to do, because tour is a quick experience, and that experience I'm going to leave for people who don't know us, and Matt and Jerika are going to be headed around the country and doing it, and they're going to be teaching and speaking in a shorter version of the Power of Story. I've decided, I was on stage yesterday teaching one of my good friends, Ty. I was teaching he has thousands, and he's a huge list and huge followers. And I was teaching the Power of Story to his audience. And he was like, I've never taught there before. And he's like, oh my God, this event. He's like, I'm the main attraction, but look at everybody's losing their mind for you. And I started laughing. But I was like, you know what? I realized that I needed to be back on stage and just for our community. So I said, yeah, we can do another night school and things like that. And we'll do that later on in the year. But I decided that for Do the Damn Thing Nation, we're going to be live. So in Phoenix, Arizona, in the third week of September, we're going to be live. I'm going to be producing a live event where I'm going to be teaching. The tickets just for community and family this week as we build the event is going to be under $100 for general admission. It's crazy, but you have to buy it this week. There are no favors. There are no any of the above, but it's going to be the first 18 people who are getting $100 in Tiffany cash. So the ticket's like $197. We're going to make it $97 or $88 or something stupid to come with me, not anybody else, for 3 days, 3.5 days. Yes, this is a whole event that's happening in September. I made a decision and we can do it, family. And there are a couple of requirements around vaccination and things like that. But if you know that you need one of these 18 now, if you buy a seat for yourself, you can bring one person with you. We're going to allow up to 18 friends of the original 18 that are only family to be able to come as well. And what's really cool about that is I'm going to be teaching how do you get to center stage. So it's this all thing about stages. This is all the things that I've learned in the pandemic that I've learned, because our company, I'll tell you, a couple months ago, we had our best month that we've ever had in 5 years and collected cash in addition to revenue. And I'm like, I'm so proud of us. I'm so proud of us. So I'm taking the time today because I want to launch this to family first. It's important for us to be together and get together. The next large event is not going to be in November. It's going to be on my birthday. Outside of that, there's going to be intensives that are smaller experiences throughout the year, but our family needs to get together. Anybody else feel like that? Like, we just need to be together, people. #family if we just need to be together. Can you just tell me really quickly, #family if you're like, we need to be together? That's enough time for you to re-examine whether or not you're going to get vaccinated. This is about whether or not you want to blah, 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 blah. The tickets will be crazy low. The room rates will be crazy low. You'll have the ability to come and share a room with someone. If you know that you're going to come, Phoenix, Arizona is so easy to fly to for the majority of you. It's a direct flight. I'm going to be teaching. It's going to be called Center Stage. And I want to make it impossible for everybody. I want to make it possible for everybody. So if you know that you want to come live and you want the $100, we're only doing the first 18 people and the friends of the 18 people. So the first 18 people to say, yep, I want $100 in Tiffany cash because I'm definitely coming live. Now, the intensive, it doesn't replace that. And I'll say this, if you already saying, Tiffany, I'm coming to the intensive in October, I want to work in a close experience with Matt and Jerika. And if you don't believe me, just go ask Trisha, Stephanie Carter, Cassandra. Oh my gosh, Cassandra, we celebrated her 50th birthday. We had a cake for her. It was so cool. I sang happy birthday, but like the hood version. Avis was here. my boyfriend, what's his name? Cliff. My Cliff was here. Oh, so good. Matt and Jerika will tell you we got like all of 2.5 hours. If you know that you want to come and you're like, I'm coming in September, and you're willing to get on a plane, you're gonna be with me. You're gonna be with me. Like, I literally went and got the vaccine for you people. Look at that. I made a decision. We went and I got the vaccine. Now, if you come to the story intensive in October and you're like, I'm coming to both, we'll give you a compliment. If you pay for the story intensive, we'll give you a complimentary ticket to the event in September. Make it easy. I'm gonna make it easy. We're gonna hit our numbers, but I've made a commitment. Like, we know who's trying hard. We talk about it. We literally just had a meeting last week. We know who's trying hard. We know who's showing up. We know who's doubling down, and we're about to grow in a crazy way. And if you're like, Tiffany, I'm coming to both, totally come to both. We're working very hard to make sure that the hotel per night is very inexpensive. So that way this is an easy trip for you, and that you can save, you can hustle, you can do whatever you need to do. Because for us, this is about the family getting in person, being together. You want to sponsor, and you're like, Tiffany, I'd like to sponsor, be part of it. Okay. We can only take 100 people in the room, and everybody after that has to be virtual. So this is going to be a mad dash to the first 100 people in person. Yep. And there's a good chance, I don't know, that Mark Stoner might be there. I don't know. Everybody that I love is going to be there. So this is like a reunion for all of us. So everybody that I love is going to be there. Mark's going to be there for sure. My eye is going to be there. Damien's going to be there. Yes. And so we're making sure that the rooms are like not $200-300, that they're well under $100, that if you need to, you can share a room easy, that it's easy in and out from the airport. We're like figuring it all out. This is the truth. Matt and I were literally at a location not too long ago. Damien and I will be seeing one this week. Like, no bullshit, I've got you covered. But if you know what are the dates in October, I believe that they're the 12th through the 17th, but don't quote me. Bobby motherfucking Brown will be in the building. Listen, here's what's true. Yes, absolutely. Jock is going to be there. Matt Gill's going to be there. Jerika's going to be there. We're all of us are going to be in person. Damien is building a space. So let's tag Damien. Can you guys tag Damien and say, hey, Damien. Hey, Damien, you should tag him. Absolutely. Ryan's going to be there. We're coming together. I'm going to show you the details, exactly what, how, where, and when. And then, more importantly, yes, we're going to keep it together. Isn't this so good? Is anyone excited? Who says, can you just put the word Phoenix if you say for sure I'm going to come in person? The ticket's going to be under $100. Hey, Damien, are you coming? Absolutely not coming. Damien's going to be there. Damien's the backbone. He's going to be doing some awesome stuff for us and taking great care of us for sure. I'm so excited about this. I've been trying to keep it quiet, but I'm like, oh, does anybody else know that they're going to come to Phoenix? That you're willing to travel, you're willing to get on a plane, you're willing. Yeah, Damien Rufus will for sure be in the building. Absolutely, hands down. Is anybody else like, oh, I know for sure, Tiffany, I'm going to do this. So here's the thing. I want to help you master telling your story. I walk through the power of all of the, I walk through all of this. Now, let me tell you this. If you're like, Tiffany, I cannot come in person, that's okay. Can you put Phoenix virtual? I'm going to take the same dollar amount and apply it to you so you have a virtual special ticket. That's okay. So we've decided we'll have an entire virtual. No. Yeah, February is my birthday. It is. And that's when we're going to have Do the Damn Thing Live and the birthday party. So if you're like, Tiffany, I'm coming to Phoenix. Center stage, all things around story. Absolutely. Linda Richard, you'd love to come. We'd love to have you. Linda Richard, everybody say, hey, Linda. Hey, hey, hey. For those of you who are chiming in and you're like, where's the volume? Listen, we are not a volume company. We're not a volume provider. We're not looking for mass hoarding of people. These people are my family, and I love them. And I love them like this. There is no stage in December. That is correct. We'll be having a handful of smaller events that'll take place between October 1st and the end of the year. The September dates, I believe that they are the week of the 17th. I believe they're the week of the 17th. They get released this week. Yes, everybody say, hey, Linda. Hey, Linda. For sure. I'm going to drink to that. But listen, don't put your name. That's okay. That's okay. So if you're going to be virtual with us, it's going to be awesome. We're building. We weren't going to build a virtual ticket, but Matt is amazing. Amazing Matt decided on that we're going to build an experience. We've never built a real experience for our virtual seats outside of night school, but we don't really ship anything. This time we're going to be shipping and all of the above and investing in quite a few more bits and pieces of technology because, you know, we do things a little differently so that I make sure that you have your own super sexy, solid experience so that you feel excited and more importantly, so that you get ready for February. February, my birthday is February 8th. And you can just look at that week and know that that is when the next event is going to be, the next large event. Everything besides that will be night school. We have 3 or 4 intensives, a couple of virtual experiences. But in between then, if you're like, I need to come work with you guys one-on-one, I highly encourage you, if you can come in person, that is going to be the money. So 18 people are going to get $500. You know what? I'm going to up the ante because I'm absolutely crazy. So $500 if you take the $3,500 seat, $1,000 if you take the next seat for the story intensive. That's in October. If you take one of those from this, because what Jock, I'm going to ask Jock to do. Jock is going to reach out to you one-on-one and get you on our calendar. You have to talk. You have to talk to us in the next couple of days. So next between tomorrow and Wednesday in order to get it. So I'm going to give away $500, $1,000, okay? The next thing I'm going to say is that 18 people are going to get $100 for the virtual seat. 18 people are going to get VIP days. So I'm going to do $500 off of VIP days with me, Matt, or Jerika, one-on-one on story. What else can we do? You guys want to see my daughter? Let me show you my daughter, my babe. My baby. Let me show you guys want to see my baby. Let me show you my baby. Yes, you want to see my baby? She got here from Boston. And she's like, Mom, I want you to keep going. Aisha Bell. Let's see if Aisha Bell's listening. Let's see if Aisha Bell's listening. Oh, no, Aisha Bell's not listening. She's not, because if we tell Aisha Bell, it's over. You get it? We're all in trouble. We're all in mass trouble. Let's see if we can find Jada. So really quickly, when you think about coming and telling your story, so is anyone undecided? Because in the next 2 days, hi, can you please tell Jada to come out here? Thank you. I love you, boo-boo.
Love you too.
That's my baby. This is my middle child, everybody. She's my little baby. Thank you. Okay. So really quickly, I'm not going to get in trouble. Nope, no in trouble here. Guys, I love it. That's okay if you're undecided. I'm going to tell you this. For the story intensive, it's going to be amazing. We're going to be in downtown Phoenix. We're going to be in a private space. For those of you who just came to the story intensive, you guys have your own pricing. You already know that. Let me tell you why you got to tell your story. Because your story literally shifts everything. And every time, hold on, someone's privately asking me if we can ask Damien. I love this. I feel like I should call Damien right now. Let's call Damien. Let's call him and see what he says. So the truth of the matter is that yay, it's Jada. We're going to call Damien later. Hold on, people. It's Jada, everybody. Yay, it's Jada. Yeah, Jada. This is my little baby. My little baby. You see my little baby? Look how beautiful my child is, people. Holy Mother of Johnson. I'm just going to take her picture and make it my profile picture. Y'all see how pretty my daughter is? Do you see what's happening in these streets? Shit. Listen, this is my baby. So listen, I'm going to tell you guys all something. So I've been uber proud of my daughter because I was telling her that I taught her how to be a strong woman. I did my best. But I told her that I made some really tough decisions in my life in the last 30 days. And I taught her that in my story that I now need to teach her how to be a woman. And it's like, I look at her and I'm like, man, I need to teach her how to be a woman, but I can't teach her how to be a woman by doing things. I have to do hard things, the hard things. Now, Jada, let me ask you a question, because first and foremost, everybody wants to know, everybody is wondering, what's the greatest lesson that you've learned so far about telling your story? Sure, but what's the greatest lesson that you take away from Mom? I'm petitioning everyone to come hang out with me in Phoenix. Isn't she so pretty, like a TV show? Don't you guys just look at her? She look like a damn TV show. Shit, she got on my last nerve. Because you've watched me make a lot of hard choices in the last 30 days. Choices that were uncomfortable for everybody. What's your greatest lesson? My daughter's a woman now, people. Let me just sit aside. Let me just see what she's gonna say. She was in Boston. She was living her best life. Isn't she so pretty? Like, what is happening over here? Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. Let me behave myself. I'm sorry.
No, keep talking. I'm thinking. I mean,
what did you learn in the last 20 days watching Mom?
I want to say...
We're holding hands, by the way, if you guys don't know. We're holding hands. This is my bestie right here.
That's my soulmate.
Oh my God.
I want to say...
Did you guys hear what she said? She said, this is my soulmate.
Me and my mom are cuts from the same star. And are you crying?
I'm gonna cry. Oh my gosh. You people understand what happens to me? Me and my mom are cuts from the same star.
It's true.
How do I even deal with my daughter? No, you guys don't understand. When I tell you the power of story, let me tell you, I don't trick Jada. I give her my story. I let her watch my story. I let her watch my pain. She watches my challenges, my frustrations, my anger, my truth. She watches me as a leader, as a CEO, but I can't show her watching me as a leader and a CEO without her watching my vulnerability. In marriage, in love, as a woman, I want everyone to hear me, because you might be like, oh, well, I'm going to show people how I lead and team and teach and all this stuff. Nope. I let Jada watch what happens behind closed doors. I let her understand the dynamic of what is or isn't happening, what's good or is not good. Right? Don't you feel like you're done? Shit. I'm sorry, my daughter. Go ahead, speak. Speak the wisdom, child.
Okay, so I have two, but it's kind of the same thing. The first way I thought to put it was like the way of something that you've said of you don't have time to manage other people's insecurities. But then I was like, how do I like make it more into like my own words? And I guess it's like, life is too short to tolerate things that don't help you grow, or like be yourself.
To be yourself.
Yeah. Because I think most people that you kind of like either come into the world with, or...
Listen to this. Listen, let me put this shit closer. Hold on. Most people that you come into the world with, AKA family.
Yeah.
People hear me and hear me.
Blood.
Or blood. Listen.
I think that they're not always gonna come from the same star as you. And so you kind of like like they're different stars. Maybe they're meteors. I don't know. But
maybe they're meteors. Did you guys hear that? This is such an important thing.
But they're they can be from the same star, but they're not usually gonna be. And
they're not gonna be, just because they're blood, they're not gonna be, period.
And so you kind of have to learn that even though you can love that meteor or the other neighboring stars, they're not you, and so they won't. I don't know, they're just, blood can only take you so far. I guess that's it. And you can't really tolerate everything just because of blood.
Listen, I feel like I should just press end broadcast right here. Did you guys hear what my daughter just said? Did you hear what my daughter just said? Yes, that's exactly right. You need to quote her. Life is too short to tolerate the things that don't allow you to be yourself. Yes, Jada. She made it stupidly clear. Yes, there's blood. I get that, people. I get that there's the whole blood is thicker than water. But is it really? Blood is the shit that keeps you tolerated. The reason why I created Do the Damn Thing Nation is specifically so that people who were me here could find a way to collect here. But if you were to ask Jada, my 18-year-old daughter, when she thinks about her circle, her strength, her and I say her circle, I don't mean her peer circle. I mean her aunt, her uncles, she thinks of the people who are.
They're not even blood related.
They're not even blood related.
And it's kind of hard to explain to people.
We just had this conversation because sometimes
just people you choose.
We both had this, her and my niece were having this conversation not too long ago because she was in Boston, and she was like, every once in a while they see families and the whole family is together at dinner and the kids, and you look and you're like, oh my God, I wish that was my family. But it's like the coin is not always great, right? And then the grass is not always green. And the truth of the matter is that Jada came here and she walked into Phoenix, where she got to see Uncle Matt hanging out with Maya and Aunt Jerika, who it was like best time ever. And then Titiana, who was da 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 da. And then her Aunt Aisha, who had her to take her to go braid her hair. And then right now she's determined to call to call Damien, where she can go and dot, 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 and. Now here's why I'm sharing that with everybody. Because a lot of times we overlook the fact that we have the opportunity to choose family. The reason why I'm asking you to head to Phoenix or the virtual or the other intensive is because you get to choose family. Jada came at the tail end of the intensive, and she'll tell you about the moment after 8 days of being here. What was Jerika saying?
She was saying that she's so sad to leave her family.
I don't want to leave my family. 8 days, I don't want to leave. What did she do the night before? She spent 2 hours watching XYZ Naraku with Kayla.
Naruto.
I can't.
Naruto.
I can't. I told Jada and I walked through, because I share all the pieces of my story. And it's like, why do I do XYZ? Because the blood, this person, that person, those people, those sectors, they weren't there. When mom needed to hear, it wasn't blood. When I hear to hear, it wasn't blood either. It was here. So if I had waited, if I had allowed, if I had accepted, here's why this is so important. Because you have your own kind of you have your own demons right now, or people that you're working through, walking through, not walking through. Because you're like, man, but this and this and this person. And the number one thing, while Jada is here with me and my niece, I'm making it clear to them, we don't have time for that. We don't. I need you to live this life, and I need you to be the best that there ever was. And I need you to go get it all. I need you to go to fight. And I need you to go desire and want. And I need you to. There is nothing more exciting than me remembering Jada going like, hey, I really like the drums, and Mark Stoner taking the time to play the drums with Jada for hours in his house. As he has these super cool drums, because he's a part-time musician, and he's like, sure, Jada, I'm going to show you. And to the point where he's like, send Jada to Nashville. I'll teach her all the drums she could ever want. That's what story does. It allows you to do this and this. And if you're like, Tiffany, I'm still struggling to tell my story or own my story, then you should have said yes to one of these. So by now you should have either told me and connected with one of us, me, Matt, Jarika, Jock, Aisha, pick somebody. And say, you can even pick Jada if you want to, for crying out loud, and say, I'm going to come to Phoenix. Jada, you're going to come to Phoenix? Are you going to come to Phoenix for the event? She doesn't know for what. Jada's been at every single event that we've ever done.
Of course.
Since I was little. Uh-oh.
Since you were...
Let's just take a moment because I said since I was little. Family's what you choose since she was little. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you what, it is the greatest thing ever. Yeah, Jada's gonna be at the event. She's off to college. She's big time now, people. You have to get on her calendar and all this other shit. But my daughter, my super cool daughter's going off to college, but I promise you she's going to skip school to come to mom's event for 3-4 days because she has been to every single one. And why is this an important moment for me? Because I want you to live like this. I think about every door I knocked on, every stage I've stood on, every person I've stood up to, every double down I've done. I'm trying to make it easier for you. So if you're coming in person to work with us privately, I'm literally I'm taking 18 people because Jada's 18. My whole journey and story started when Jada turned 18. But my whole world started when Jada was born. And Jada knows that I've been fighting for her. But she doesn't know, but I've been fighting for her because of words. She knows I've been fighting for her because I show her. The second thing I'm going to say, if you're like, I can't do that, I need to come in some virtual experience, please make sure you book a time. There is a calendar link here. Ask me for the calendar link after that. Third, I'm going to say, if you're like, man, I don't know what, but I need to do something with somebody, I'm going to ask you to do something with something. Jada convinced me on a bougie strawberry cake that I can't live without now. OMG. Let me tell you something in my life. That $40 cake from flipping Whole Foods is the best indulgence I ever do. Listen, I am absolutely crystal clear that you're not here by accident, and you're here because there is something you need to face. You're here because there's a story you haven't told. You're here because you need to make sure you come and connect with us live. So come, whether it's September, October, or virtual. Come. But I need you right now. I'm going to ask you again to make a decision. And for those of you who are coming live, do you have a friend you want to bring with you? I'm going to allow you specifically to bring a friend. We can only have 100 people in the room. And I spent the week with Matt and Jarika, and Matt and I walked to Walgreens at 1 a.m. And I thought, I am so fortunate to have that experience where I can walk to Walgreens at 1 a.m. and have that kind of fun. We had stupid fun. And Jada, she didn't walk with us, but she'll tell you, as she's, seen us, all of us together. She watches on Aisha and I for 2.5 hours in the morning on a Sunday morning, like we did this morning. And it's like a love affair. And the truth of the matter is that my life is rich because of the people who I do this with. And I want you to do the same. So right now, can you tell me if you're coming Phoenix live so that I know, so that we know we need to follow up with you, and you're going to hear from me or Jock or someone on our team. If you're coming Phoenix virtual, that's the 3rd week in September, where you're coming to work with me on center stage, building your story, distributing it out to the world, and becoming a personal brand. Okay, that's where I'm going to start that. If you're like, Tiffany, damn it, I am coming to the story intensive in this intimate experience, and I want to work with you, Matt and Jarika, less than 20 people in the room, and I want to double down for 7 days and work a story boot camp, I'm going to ask you to put Phoenix Boot Camp. And if you do the Phoenix Boot Camp, then you're going to get the Phoenix Live. And then third, and let me tell you why we're choosing Arizona, because Arizona is where the coordinates are. And Arizona is where it's magical. And Arizona is where the beauty is. If you're like, you know what, Tiffany, I just don't know where. I'm flipping lost. I'm lost in the streets. And I don't even know. You just talked about Black Lives Mattering, and I missed that whole thing because I'm still back in 2017. That's okay. And you're like, I'm lost. Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to encourage you to just say, Tiffany, I need help, and tag me, and I will go right back through this and grab you. So with that, guess what I'm going to say? I'm going to say cheers to all of you who are still here an hour and a half later. I can't even deal with this child of mine. If you're lost and you don't know how we can serve you, please let me know. Please tag a friend, reach out to a friend. If you can't tag a friend, reach out to a friend and be like, hey, I have a complimentary ticket for you to come with me to Phoenix. Do you want to come? This will be the great time for you to build a trip with a friend. I love you so much. I can't wait to watch you win, and I can't wait to watch you do the damn thing. Thanks for allowing me to be a part of your night and for allowing me to bring my baby onto camera so that she could spend this time with you. Bye.